Welcome, everybody. This is Jason, and the name of this week's workshop is It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This is a start to finish workshop all about neighborhood objects. So let's have a look. How are neighborhood objects different from build by objects? Neighborhood objects do not have OBJ resources, that is, no GUID, and so because they don't have that, they also don't have an MMAT, so they're not recolorable. As such, the NH objects, they have this XNGB, which is a special text type resource used for specifically neighborhood objects, and that's where your GUID would be located. What resources do we edit when we make neighborhood objects? In addition to the basic scene graph, that's the GM and DC, the TXMT, and so on, we would also need to edit the XNGB. Think of neighborhood objects as giant non-recolorable deco objects. So to create a new neighborhood object, simply we go to the Object Workshop tab, as you would when you're cloning any other object. Then neighborhood objects can be found in Other Neighborhood. So we just clone an object as we normally would with a deco object in Object Workshop. And once it's been cloned, we replace the GMDC, we replace the TXTR. And if the object is too shiny, then we reduce the specularity and diffuse coefficients in the TXMT, and we edit the object's description in the STR, because unlike deco objects, it doesn't have a CTSS. The XNGB and why it's special. So the XNGB, it has all of these different text editable properties, and these control the behaviors of the object in game. So we have allowed in lot, pretty self-explanatory. If it's 0, it's false. If it's 1, you can actually place the object inside Sims lots. Allowed on road, that's the same deal. Remove object on lot plop. So when you place a lot, normally what happens is the game eats those neighborhood objects that were occupying that space. If you set it to 0, it's going to continue that behavior. If you change that to 1, what's going to happen? You plop the lot and the neighborhood objects are still going to occupy that space. Sort. This determines the subcategory that the object is sorted into. Accepted values are flora, stone, landmarks, effects, and MISC. This will come into play later on when we talk about thumbnails. Thumbnail group ID and thumbnail instance ID. These are the values that the game uses to see a neighborhood object's thumbnail, if that's applicable. And here's a look at the XNGB. Most of this doesn't really matter. The name, you could probably change that to something besides Beach Boulder. That's how it's going to appear in the neighborhood objects catalog. And then beyond that, I would not mess with anything up until after placement. After model name. Placement surface determines water, land, or both. Allowed in lot. Remove on lot plop. Allowed on road. And then thumbnail group ID and thumbnail instance ID and sort are the ones that we're focusing on. Creating two-phase neighborhood objects. For this example, we're going to clone from the template that I provided. It's Criquette working lit up template. So we clone that object as you normally would. And then we're going to replace only the neighborhood building res 1 windows day and the night. Will replace both of those subsets. And we just remove everything else. And in the TXTR, we would delete everything except those two components. And then in the SHPE, we delete the additional lines, leaving only the day and night TXMT. And then the TXMT, we just delete all of the extra resources that we don't need. Adding thumbnails. This is interesting. To add thumbnails to a neighborhood object in the XNGD, we need to change the sort property to effects. Only neighborhood objects sorted to effects can have thumbnails. Then we right click in the resource list. We click add. Then we go to where we have our thumbnails. the thumbnails that we'll be using to build the thumbnail in the object. And we select all files from the dropdown, and we select that JPEG, the little thumbnail JPEG. Then we go to the resource tab. And in the dropdown, we select JPEG, TGA, PNG as our type. Then we go to Tools, Object Tools, Hash Generator. We set the radio dial to CRC32. We copy and paste a value into group. And we should copy that to a notepad as well. Then we switch the radio dial to CRC24. We copy the value that it generates and we paste that into instance, and we also write that down. Then we go back to the plugin view. We go to the XNGB. Then in the thumbnail group ID property, we paste the group value, and in thumbnail instance ID, we paste the instance value. We commit and we save. To put it into practice, I've shared the resources in the resource post, and of course, because I'm a very serious person, we're going to build a gorilla and a two-phase moon. So to get started, we go to Start in Object Workshop, and we just let the file table do its thing. Then we scroll down to Other, Neighborhood. And stone. What's stone? Okay, yeah, we'll just do one of these beach boulders. Is just fine. We don't mess with Object Workshop here. We just leave the cloning settings as is. We don't mess with this. We can fix it later. And I'm going to call this George III. And then okay, we just build our object. Now, we don't have an OBJD, which is where I normally start. So let's start with the GMDC. So we go import, grab that George 2, and body, we're going to replace the subset that's already there. Eyes, we're going to add it. And we're going to need to do a little bit of subset work on this one. So first we add the body. And I just want to see the specularity on this. Okay, it's pretty matte, so I don't think we need to mess with the TXMT. So we go to the TXTR in the resource tree, once again in the resource list, and we build DXT. Open our DDS builder. We go George body. DXT3 is fine. You don't need to mess with it. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to clone this and rename it eyes. Build DXT. And we just grab the eyes and mouth texture there. Build, commit. Okay, so everything after border, we need to add that. Let's give that a quick save. Then we go to the SHPE, and because we're adding a subset, we just clone this. The subset name, we need to rename this eyes. And then everything after the underscore needs to be eyes. Then we commit. And then We need a TXMT. So we go to the TXMT in the resource list or tree, and then we click this one in the resource list, go to categorize properties, and I'm going to drop that specularity down. Specularity, or no, this is diffuse. Diffuse is how the light hits the object. So high is shiny, low is a little bit more matte. I want to make this a little bit more matte before I clone it. So I'm going to take that down to 155. Give that a quick save. Then we right click the resource up here in the resource list and we clone. And then this one after the underscore, we rename it eyes. And then this one after the dash, we rename it eyes. And then in the file list, we do the same thing. After the dash, we rename it eyes. Commit. Give that a quick save. Tools, object tools, fix integrity. And we don't need to mess with anything. We just go okay. Give that a quick save. Go back to the GMDC and give it a preview. That looks pretty good. That is about how it's supposed to look. So now we've built the object, we've fixed the subsets. It looks correct. Now we change how it behaves. So we select the XNGB here in the resource tree, once again in the resource list, and I'm going to change Beach Boulder to George III. We can put something in description if we want. And then we don't really need it. See, it generates its own GID. This is different from the object GIDs. So as long as it has a unique GID among neighborhood objects, it doesn't matter if there's an object in the object catalog that has the same value here. Now we need to go to down here. So we've got allowed in lot 1. That is it as it should be. I want to allow placement on road. So I'm going to make that 1. Here, because I want to have neighborhood thumbnails, I can't have that as stone. It needs to be effects. Now, we don't have these values yet because we haven't generated them. So let's commit and save our XNGB for now. Then anywhere in the resource list, we just right click and then add. Make sure that we're in our project folder and we change this to all files in the drop down here. And we grab this NH thumb gorilla. Now you can see it added it as user defined. What we need to do here, select that resource in the resource list, and we hop over to the resource tab. What we need to do here, we're scrolling, we're looking for JPG, TGA, PNG image. Just like that. Then tools, object tools, hash generator. First, we go to CRC32 and we copy that value. Okay, then we go over here. The CRC32, we paste that in group. Then, because I already have my trusty notepad open, what I'm going to do, and notate that group value just like that. Then we go back to our hash generator. This time we go CRC24 We copy that value. We go to instance. We paste that value. And then we go back to our notepad. We paste it here as well. Give that a save. And then let's just make sure it looks correct in the plugin. Yep, the plugin looks good. Then we go to the XNGB once again in the resource tree and here in the resource list. And we scroll down till we get to these two properties. So thumbnail group ID, we just copy group from here and we paste it here. Then thumbnail instance ID, we copy from here, we paste it here. We give it a commit. We give it a save. So for the moon, this time what we want to do, we want to open, and we're looking for Criquette working lit up template. We open. We don't mess with the cloning settings. We don't mess with anything here. We just give it a scene graph name here. Update. And then I'm just going to save it. No. I'm going to call this one Moon 3 so it doesn't overwrite the other one. Okay, so we've cloned the object. We go to the GMDC and let's see what's happening. What we need to do, we go to the groups tab and we delete everything except the Windows day and Windows night subsets. Then import the moon and let's replace Windows day first. And you can immediately see the difference because that has a lot more polys in it. Then we do the same thing for Windows night. We import, we grab the moon. This time we replace. No. Which one is it? Should be the top one on the list. Okay, yeah, they both have the same poly count now. So all we're doing is deleting those extra groups and then replacing day and night with the moon. We give that a commit. Then we go to textures. So the ones that we need to leave are repeat surface and repeat surface night. So for repeat surface, we select the image. We right click and build DXT. And then this is our days. So we go moon day and we build. Commit. And then this is moon night. So we right click, build DXT. We grab moon, the one that just says moon, and then we build. And we give that a quick save. Then we go to the SHPE. And we just delete all of these extra bits that we don't need. So we should only have Windows day and Windows night. And finally, we go to the TXMT and we can just shift select and delete all of these bits that we don't use. We only need Windows day and Windows night. Hey folks, editing Jason here. So when I was doing the workshop, one of the critical steps that I missed when cloning Criquette's template, in the TXMT, you would need to copy standard material texture base name, copy that material name and paste it down to where it says text material. Otherwise, the neighborhood object, the two-phase neighborhood object, isn't finding the material. And so I will show you how that works right now. So when you clone the object, there's a second line of text called text material here. And what we have to do is copy from the TXMT, from standard material base texture name, and just paste it there. And then here, we do the same thing. We copy and then we go down to text material. And we just replace it here. So we go to the XNGB. We select it in the resource list. And then where it says name, I'm just going to put moon. And then description. Put whatever you want in description. And then the GID, we won't mess with that. Allowed in lot. Let's make that 1. Remove on lot plop. We don't really need it to be removed when we set down a lot, so we'll just leave that as 0. And what am I missing? Placement surface. Now we're going to allow that on land and sea, so I'm just going to make that a 2. So land and water. Allowed on road, sure, why not? And then we commit, we need to add the thumbnail still. So we give that a quick save. And we go here. We just select anywhere in the resource list, right click and add. Then here we change the drop down to all files and we grab that moon thumbnail. That's going to add a user defined resource. So we select that in the tree, once again in the list, and we hop over to the resource tab. And just as before, we scroll down until we find JPG, TGA, PNG image. We open hash generator. And then we select CRC32 first. This gives us our group. We paste our group. And then we select CRC24. And we copy that, and that's our instance. So we paste our instance. And we're done with our hash generator. Then we paste the instance on Notepad. And we copy the group. We paste the group in Notepad, just like that. Back to plugin view. And that looks pretty good. So we give that a quick save. Then we go to the XNGB, select the resource. We select it in the resource list. And then we can see this is sorted MISC. So we want to change that to effects. And then thumbnail group ID, we copy our group value. We paste that over here. We copy the instance value. I'll paste that here. Give that a commit. And we save. And that's it. We're now ready to test. Okay, so we're in our neighborhood and we go to neighborhood effects. Let's add our moon. How about out over the water here? So you can see we can place it over roads. We can place it on land. We can place it in water. That's the way that we edited the XNGB. And now let's grab George. And again, we can place him, he's drowning. You can place him kind of in the ocean. You can place him over a road. You can place him on land. You can place him like inside a lot. So let's just put him there. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to get a close up. Oh, let's do it that way. So there we can see George doing his thing. And I think I lowered the diffuse a little too much. It's kind of dark. He's kind of a black hole. He sucks in all the light. So now we've got this moon. We've got this two-phase moon. And if you switch to night, it changes the material. And if you switch back to day, it uses the original material. And so that's pretty much it. Neighborhood objects are easy.